Welcome back to the Victoria Marie YouTube channel where I feature all things scrapbooking. If that is right up your alley, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, that way you know each and every time I post a new video to this channel. I'm back with day 3 in my December daily album, or I should say December documented, because that's the product that I'm using from LE Studio. Of course, you can check out the playlist to see a full listing of all the things I'm using. The first thing I did was I cut a number 3 using a cut file from my Silhouette Cameo. I found that cut file in the Silhouette store. I also have a silver glittery star, a circle label, as well as some patterned paper from the LA Studio 6x6 collection. This is a 4x6 photo of my mom who was recently at the ER, was dealing a little bit with some edema that affected her mobility, which is already compromised from a previously diagnosed illness. And I wanted to include this story in my December daily because it did take caretaking takes a significant amount of my time right now, and after Thanksgiving is when my mother got a little sick. So I want to include this story, and I decided just to create a little, I guess you would call this like a mini album, a little insert, if you will. I'm going to go ahead and place that number 3 right there in the center, and then I'm going to embellish it with a few things that you'll see me do here in just a moment. So I'm just kind of figuring out where I want to put everything. Now, what I do anytime I'm creating some sort of insert for an album, I like to create a template. So I did create this template, and it is 6 inches by 9¼ inches. And also in the middle, I want to make sure I had some kind of binding system. So when I put this into my album, I can open and shut it easily. So I allowed a little bit of space, 5/8 of an inch on either side there, and I have it marked. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my photo to the left-hand side, and I'm going to add the journaling on the right-hand. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to add the photo on the right-hand side. I'm going to add the journaling on the left-hand side. And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't punching a hole in the journaling or the photo. And so that's why I left a little bit of space there in the middle for the holes. And here I am putting the template in my album so I can make sure that this works. And in fact, it does. And what I'll do later is I'm going to add some washi tape and all those types of things to that binding system so you can see how that works. All right, so let me go ahead and get started. The reason why I like making a template is then I can use the template as a stencil of some sort, not really a stencil, but I guess just a template, so I can measure out the paper that I want to make this little insert with. I'm using some heavy white cardstock trimmed down to 6 9¼ inches. Next up, I'm going to fold it in the middle. Well, first I'm going to trim off some of the fray there from my little cutting tool. I am going to fold it in the middle. I do recommend that you use some sort of scoring tool because it makes folding and creasing your paper a lot easier, particularly if you're using a heavy cardstock, which is what I'm using. And I wanted to use a heavy cardstock because this is a, of course, interactive album and people are going to be looking at this album, and I want it to last for years to come. So once I folded that, I creased it with my bone folder from Recollections. Now I'm going to measure out 5/8 of an inch on either side on both panels there, just to make sure that I have the right spacing to punch out my holes in the middle. Now, once I get this done, I'm going to go ahead and put those pencil marks there. Once I have the pencil marks done, I'm going to go ahead and fold it again with the pencil marks showing. So that way I know where I'm going to punch the holes at, that I get in the right space. I'm going to punch those holes using a little hole puncher. All is good. I'm going to go ahead and fold it back to where the pencil marks aren't showing, and then I'm going to erase the pencil marks. Now in a second, my phone's going to stop recording, and when I come back, you're going to see that the cover is already made, but I'll get to that in a second. I decided to go ahead and add some washi on the inside of the fold because I wanted a decorative element and not a whole bunch of white showing between the journaling and the photo. So I just add that there in the middle, 2 pieces, 1 on each panel. I'm going to trim that up and then I'm going to repunch the holes. I'm also taking an opportunity to cut any frays from my cutting tool. Once I have that done, I'm going to add the journaling and the photo. Of course, I got to punch the holes again because I covered the holes with the washi tape. Easy peasy, nothing wrong with that. Now the camera cut out, but here I am. What you can see here is I added the patterned paper. I used the 6x6 paper pad from the kit, and I added some patterned paper to the front. There's the washi tape. I went ahead and here the journaling, which talks about our experience at the ER and the things that we've been dealing with this holiday season, as well as my mom there as she's waiting for them to take her vitals. And then I added some patterned paper to the back, again from the 6x6 paper pad, the holiday paper pad. Actually, this did not come with the kit. You could purchase this separately. Now here's that number 3. Now that black paper is actually a glitter paper. That doesn't pick up very well on the camera, but I purchased that from Michael's. And I went ahead and I cut out the number 3 with the diagonal stripe design that came with the cut file that I used from the Silhouette store. And then I also cut a solid number 3 out of the green pattern paper as well. It has a little bit of a polka dot design. I'm going to back that first die cut with the green pattern paper so that green shows. And it looks really pretty in person. The sparkle really comes through. It's hard to tell that in the video. Now I'm going to add a little bit of foam because I want this to pop up to add a tiny bit of dimension. I'm going to get the backings off and then I'm going to adhere that right to the front. And I was trying to decide, do I want it in the middle? Do I want it to the side? I kind of hee-haw about it a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and commit to that being in the middle because I wanted some room for my star. I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive there and then a tiny bit of foam to one side of the star because that's going to have to stand up to the height of that number 3 since I'm putting that on the edge there. So I'm going to take the backings off. And at this point, I'm really happy with the way that this looks. This is a great way to sort of extend the space in your December daily or document December or whatever product or whatever project that you're doing. You can extend the space a little bit, add some photos or some extra journaling. It could be just an opportunity to journal if you don't have a photo in mind. I sometimes forget to take photos during this season when I am doing this project, and so it gives me an opportunity to just document in words what's going on. But in this case, I needed to document both in words as well as have a photo of what's going on. And to that extent, not all the stories have to be happy stories either. So this story was it's not happy, it's not too sad, but it's happy. It's concerning nonetheless because we're trying to figure out what's going on with my mom's health. So as you can see, I put together all the elements and now I'm adding some puffy fonts to spell out the word day. So it's going to be day 3. And I'm trying to get those positioned and straight as best as I can. And then I thought, you know what, it needs a little something else. So I'm going to look at my options from the kit. And I'm going to grab a little wood veneer candy cane. You can see that I've pulled out all of my little stash there from this kit and some other things. I'm looking through again just to make sure if there's anything else I want. I'm going to add some adhesive here to the back. Some just glue adhesive. I'm trying to get it out the bottle. I switched to a different adhesive at that point. There we go. I'm just going to add that on there. That adds a tiny bit of whimsy. Even though the story is not all that pleasant, it's still a holiday album and I want to make sure that I have a little bit of whimsy in there. Next up, I'm going to create a label that's going to go on top of the photo. There's some white space at the far right of the photo that's above the nurse's head. So I want to add this or create a label. It says December and it has the days of the week. And what I want to do is I'm going to circle whatever December 3rd was. I think it was a Tuesday this month. I forgot to do that when I was making this layout. And then I'm going to add a puffy number 3 to that label just to add a tiny bit of color there because I did print the photo in black and white. So it's pretty monotone. I'm going to stamp it, trim it out, trying to make sure that I have it where I want it. Add a little bit of adhesive to that. And that's going to go right there on top of the photo. Then I'm going to grab another one of these little puffy numbers from the LA Studio kit. Document December kit and add the number 3. And I think with that, my little insert's done. So I'm going to pop that in my album. I love the way that looks. It's a bit of an unexpected element when someone else is looking at your album. It's a great way to really draw people in to look through the album. It's just fun when you go back yourself and look at the album. The insert looks really nice. It works well. I did later on add a tab and I stamped December Story from the stamp sets that are available or were available. I think they're all sold out now. And I think that's a beautiful addition to my album. To see photos of this project, make sure you head on over to the Victoria Marie blog. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. When you do, click the bell indicator. That way you'll know each and every time a new video is posted.